Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here for another edition of your weekly episodic news show. This is Behind the Mic, and it is Behind the Mic episode number 44. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And we've got some huge news. This week has been jam-packed with news. And I mean, it really hasn't been a busy week for videos on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. It's kind of the calm before the storm here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, because next week is going to be a storm of videos. Survivor Series week. I was going to say weekend. It's pretty much a Survivor Series week, because the whole week there's going to be content flowing. Raw, Smackdown reviews going to be out on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, there's usually a breaking news type video around there. So Wednesday is probably going to be jam-packed. Thursday is your Survivor Series preview and predictions. We're talking everything Survivor Series, the build, the matches, what I think is going to happen in those matches, the quality of those matches, the winners of those matches. We're going to be discussing it all. And of course, news going into the Survivor Series will also be discussed. That preview and predictions is going to be huge. So make sure to expect that. On Friday, you're going to have your NXT TakeOver War Games. There you go, War Games. I was thinking for the city, bro. It's War Games. NXT TakeOver War Games happening on Saturday. Your preview and predictions for that will be up on Friday. And of course, a review will be up on that very Saturday after War Games goes off the air. On that very Saturday, it's going to be a double upload, because we're going to be reviewing War Games, and it's going to be Behind the Mic episode number 45, which is most likely going to be a huge video talking all the news going into the big night that is going to be Survivor Series. And then of course on Sunday you have your Survivor Series review and results capping off the week. So it's going to be a big week. Most likely there's going to be an upload every single day. And if you do not want to miss any of that, what you can do is subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed yet, I do not know what you are waiting for. This week in and of itself, you've had your Monday Night Raw and Smackdown reviews up, and then of course Behind the Mic, which you're watching right now on Saturday. Maybe there will be an upload tomorrow on Sunday, but really not a busy week. Like I said, the calm before the storm here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. But speaking of a storm, there's a huge storm of news. Look at that segue, bro. There's a huge storm of news to discuss here on Behind the Mic episode number 44. And that is topped off by this news that just broke before I started recording this video. And that is news that Roman Reigns, the man to replace Roman Reigns as the guy, is already in the WWE. Vince McMahon has his sights on this man, and he's currently your NXT champion. So we will talk about that. That is news that excites the hell out of me, because I love our NXT champion. We will talk about that here on Behind the Mic. We've got this news on John Cena joining Team Survivor Series, Team Smackdown for the Survivor Series. We're going to be talking about that and how it makes no goddamn sense and how it takes away opportunity in the WWE. We will discuss that. We're going to be talking Jinder Mahal and him, or Jinder Mahal, excuse me, according to Kurt Angle, Jinder Mahal, and him addressing the rumors, or not the rumors, but the criticisms that have been directed towards him. We've got news on the reason why Vince McMahon ended Jinder Mahal's WWE title reign here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. We like to call Jinder Mahal the modern day failure Raha, because that is what he is. And we've got news on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn being sent home, and they will be back on SmackDown Live. They were sent home from the European tour. We're going to be talking about that. And of course, Daniel Bryan saying that WWE wants him to get back in the ring. We're going to be talking about that one here. All this on Behind the Mic, episode number 44. We've got all that news, and as all of you know, so much more right here on Behind the Mic. So I'm going to ask you a favor, and that is to stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going straight into the news stories. We're going to start off with this huge news story that just dropped here. And this is a story that excites the hell out of me because Roman Reigns could be replaced by a surprising superstar as the guy. So the WWE Universe has come to know Roman Reigns as quote-unquote the guy. But another guy may be better suited for that role to carry WWE, and I agree. That's the opinion of one prominent wrestling journalist who recently talked about why Reigns really isn't the guy who should carry the latest generation of WWE forward. WWE has been constantly trying to give Reigns the major jumpstart he needs to get over with the fans, but it's mainly caused resentment. Here are the latest details on who the wrestling journalist believes is the best replacement for Reigns in the role of the guy. As reported by Sportskeeda's James Sullivan, a recent shoot conversation involving wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer sheds light on the Reigns situation. Meltzer spoke on the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online this week and said he could tell as soon as the Shield broke up that Reigns was not the guy. He added it became painfully obvious that that's the case. As Reigns continued his solo push forward, the WWE's attempts to push Reigns to the top as their major superstar to take over for John Cena have continually failed with a vocal majority of the fans. This has happened despite Reigns being a fan favorite during his original run with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins as the Shield. During his shoot on Reigns, Meltzer said, "There's a reason fans don't stop watching WWE or Raw just because of Reigns." Quote, and this is Dave Meltzer speaking, "They have this hardcore audience. They're gonna buy tickets to the big shows. It's their freaking religion. And when they don't like it, they're gonna complain, but they're still going to watch." The WWE has booked Roman Reigns to appear unbeatable or indestructible at times. His feud with Braun Strowman was a particularly entertaining highlight of his wrestling career. However, a win over The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33 this past April really told the story. The story of bullshit. That's me talking. Anyways, as Taker is a longtime legend and fan favorite, it became painfully obvious on the next night's episode of WWE Raw that the fans were booing a man supposed to be over as a babyface. Reigns waited out the booing for what seemed like an eternity until he could finally say a few words and drop the mic. And that's probably the best promo Roman Reigns has ever cut. A promo where he said a couple words and the fans booing and the fans just absolutely destroying this guy and bringing the building down on this guy is Roman Reigns' best promo. That just goes to show you how awful this Roman Reigns experiment has been. A win over John Cena was supposed to be the latest in the efforts to establish Reigns' credibility as the guy, but Cena has followed a similar path to Reigns in that respect. He was once over with the fans, and the WWE's constant pushing and booking of him led to fan resentment. When their match finally arrived, it became a battle of two stars that the fans weren't sure who to root for or against. From there, WWE tried its latest move. By having a reunion of the Shield, unfortunately the momentum of that which could have helped Reigns was halted when he became ill before a huge match at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs 2017. I just wanted to add here, before we go on, that the fans were clearly in favor of John Cena in that John Cena versus Roman Reigns match. I don't know where this article is getting that they did not know who to boo or cheer for. They were clearly on the side of John Cena. John Cena was the clear babyface in that exchange, and a guy so hated like John Cena, that just goes to show you how much these fans hate Roman Reigns, that a guy who is, many would consider as hated, was being cheered in that No Mercy matchup. So I don't know where this article is getting from the fact that they didn't know who to cheer for. They knew who to cheer for. It was Cena, because Reigns is garbage, and they could tell. And they could tell, bro. Anyways, moving on here. Kurt Angle filled in for Reigns and received plenty of praise from the fans. Reigns is expected to finally return for a big Survivor Series match to team up with Rollins and Ambrose against the New Day. Meltzer still believes there's another superstar out there better equipped to become the top guy in WWE. Who is that guy? Per Meltzer, current WWE NXT champion Drew McIntyre fits the bill. Meltzer contends it's Reigns by default until somebody comes up. McIntyre checks a lot of boxes. McIntyre was formerly with WWE and actually was billed the chosen one by Mr. McMahon for a good part of his early career. He'd eventually depart for the rival TNA Impact Wrestling, become one of their top superstars, and then return back to WWE. With that said, McIntyre is currently residing on the NXT roster, but it's not far-fetched to believe he could join WWE within the next year. However, it will once again be up to the creative team to book him properly, or else it could become another failed move similar to what Reigns has dealt with. So far, it seems like it's still in the books for WWE to keep pushing Reigns as much as possible. Drew McIntyre absolutely fits the bill, and the way this guy looks right now, holy shit. As soon as Vince McMahon lays his eyes on Drew McIntyre, his pants, there's going to be a huge little print mark across his pants. There's going to be huge dollar signs on his eyes, and he's going to extend his hand, and there's going to be a huge handshake between Drew McIntyre and Vince McMahon, because Drew McIntyre looks absolutely fantastic right now, bro. He looks like a bit of an Undertaker in his prime. Very big man, and he's looking a lot more buff than he did last time. And you know Vince McMahon loves his big men, bro. You know that. But not only that, the look is going to appeal to Vince McMahon, but the in-ring is going to appeal to us fans. The promo work is going to appeal to us fans, because Drew McIntyre is one of those guys who brings intensity into everything that he does, and he's got a very marketable look, this Drew McIntyre. He has that main event feel. He has that legitimate look, that legitimate feel to him. And when I talk legitimate, I mean a Samoa Joe, a Braun Strowman, a Brock Lesnar. That's what I look at when I see legitimate. You can even throw Shinsuke Nakamura, back when he was in NXT, into that equation. Now on the main roster, he is worth nothing, but that's besides the point. That's what I mean when I see legitimate. When I look at Roman Reigns, I do not see legitimate. When you look at Roman Reigns, can you honestly tell me that you see legitimate? I don't, and you probably don't either, because this guy has been shoved down our throats, and he's been booked to absolute nausea. To absolute nausea. Roman Reigns is not legitimate. He can't cut a promo for his life. That was seen when he was in that program with John Cena. This guy's never going to be that main event level promo. And he has to be carried into a good match. He does have to be carried into a good match. He's not a ring general, is Roman Reigns. John Cena wasn't a ring general, and I'll give you that. But when you've seen Roman Reigns versus John Cena, you've seen that. That match was awful. That match was awful. He could not carry The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33, who in that point in his career was not a ring general. The Undertaker's not going to be a ring general at that 50-year-old age. He could not carry Mr. Undertaker to a good match. Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble had to carry him to a good match. AJ Styles in their series of matches last year had to carry Reigns into a good match. He needs to be carried. He's not a ring general. Drew McIntyre, that's a ring general. That's a main event level promo. That said, he can use work on his promos, but the intensity in his promos are there. The marketability is there. Everything. He checks a lot of boxes, just like the article said. Drew McIntyre, if he came up and he replaced Roman Reigns as that top guy, I'm sure I would not be complaining, and I'm sure you guys would not be complaining. But again, that requires the correct booking. And if you can book this guy correctly, if you can book Drew McIntyre to make it not feel forced, because even if you do bring Drew McIntyre up and he checks all these boxes, but you shove him down our throats in the fashion that you did Roman Reigns, if you do that, there's going to be issues. There's still going to be issues. If people feel like they're being force-fed something that they don't want to be force-fed, there's going to be issues. And WWE needs to understand that. That's what went wrong with the John Cena back in the day. That's what's going wrong with Roman Reigns now. It's not genuine. And hopefully, Drew McIntyre comes up and it can feel more genuine if WWE does go on to do this said push. Roman Reigns is not the guy. We've seen that in his feud with John Cena. We've seen that in his match with The Undertaker. We've seen that in his match with Triple H as well at WrestleMania 32. All god-awful matches, all god-awful promos by Roman Reigns. He's not the guy. He's got a nice look, sure, I'll give you that. But he's not the guy. Turn this guy heel and let Drew McIntyre come in and show you what he can do. And if that doesn't work, you can move on to somebody else. I mean, you got AJ Styles right there. You got Shinsuke Nakamura right there. Yet WWE decides to go for Roman Reigns. It doesn't make sense to me, and Drew McIntyre would be a much better choice. But that's my opinion. Leave your opinion in the comment section below as we continue on to the next news story. And the next news story, of course, has to do with Johnny Boy, John Cena, and his involvement in now the Survivor Series as part of Team Smackdown Live. Let's talk about it. It seems the WWE Survivor Series 2017 match card is changing by the minute, and that trend continued on Wednesday with the announcement of Team SmackDown's fifth and final member. The men's team, captained by Shane McMahon, already had 4 top superstars ready to do battle with Kurt Angle's stacked Team Raw next Sunday. However, Commissioner Shane McMahon made the huge announcement of who will fill out the team when his Blue Brand squad hits the ring for the 5-on-5 match. Based on who that superstar is, it seems their final member could give SmackDown an edge over Raw in less than 2 weeks. It could also change WWE rumors involving another match at the pay-per-view. There were 4 members already announced for Team SmackDown ahead of next Sunday's big WWE Survivor Series 2017 pay-per-view. Shane McMahon was already team captain, while 3 other superstars qualified by winning matches on SmackDown. They were the Viper Randy Orton, the King of Strong Style Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Glorious Bobby Roode. Still, a 5th member and a 5th and final member was needed, and SmackDown added a major star to their team. Rumors had been circulating online that everyone from Chad Gable to an NXT star would be the last spot on the team, but the WWE.com report washed away those rumors, as Shane also posted on his Twitter on Wednesday. John Cena will be the 5th and final member of Team SmackDown. On Shane's Twitter, he said, "Further proving SmackDown Live is a superior brand, I'm happy to announce John Cena will be the 5th member of Team SmackDown at Survivor Series." Cena was previously rumored to be a part of the Survivor Series 2017 card, but as a special referee for Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar in their champion versus champion match, that match was changed up a bit, as AJ Styles won the WWE Championship just last night from Jinder Mahal at SmackDown taping in Manchester, England. It's an unknown if Cena will perform double duty on the card now that he's been announced for this big match. However, this is another big boost for the pay-per-view card, which had been lackluster fanfare based on the matches previously scheduled. The WWE Survivor Series 2017 pay-per-view arrives on Sunday, November 19th from Houston, Texas. Will it be Team SmackDown or Team Raw picking up the victory in that match for the brand's bragging rights? This makes no goddamn sense. Why the hell is John Cena the 5th and final member for Team SmackDown? What type of sense does that make? Holy shit, bro. I mean, John Cena, isn't this guy a free agent? He can appear on both brands to his pleasing. And to top that off, despite the fact that he's a free agent, meaning he does not have affiliation, he does not have alignment with either brand, he is impartial. You make this guy a free agent, yet he's in a Raw versus Smackdown match? What? What the fuck? How does that even process through your brain? This guy is not part of either brand. He's a free agent, yet he's on Team Smackdown. I just don't understand it. I don't. It makes no sense. And then to top that off, last time we saw him, he was on Monday Night Raw, and now he magically wants to warp back over to SmackDown. And then to top that off, the opportunity this is taking away from another member of the SmackDown Live roster, bro. It's taking away an opportunity, and I do not think that you can deny me on that one. Rusev, this spot could have easily gone to Rusev. You even had the guy fight Randy Orton to qualify. Yet you squash him with an RKO in 3 minutes. You make this guy fight. You make Shinsuke Nakamura fight. You make Randy Orton fight. And you make Bobby Roode fight to get into this matchup. Yet John Cena does not have to qualify. John Cena does not have to qualify. He just gets magically put into the match, and Rusev is fucked over, and even tweeted something about that. He was like, oh, John Cena taking away more opportunities, some shit like that, getting magically placed into the matchup. Fantastic. That's taking away opportunity. It really is. When you could have had Rusev in there with these big stars, and there with the Randy Orton, Shane McMahon, mixing it up, right? You put in John Cena to add more excitement to the pay-per-view. Now, John Cena was going to be part of the Survivor Series anyways. His rumored role was going to be in that Mahal versus Lesnar match as a special guest referee. And clearly that was going to set up a Mahal versus Cena matchup at WrestleMania. So, being the fact that Jinder Mahal lost the WWE Championship, WWE something hit Vince McMahon in the head, and it allowed him to magically figure out that Jinder Mahal was a failure, and now clearly plans have changed, so Cena did not have to set up a matchup with Mahal, and it would have made no sense for him to be special guest referee for a Styles versus Lesnar match. You gotta find another role for him on the pay-per-view. This is where I am even more dumbfounded than I already am. Because John Cena did not have to be in the Survivor Series matchup. You're telling me you could not have found another role for Mr. Cena? You couldn't have put him in a dream matchup against Samoa Joe on the pay-per-view and replace Samoa Joe's spot on Raw, maybe for a Bray Wyatt? You couldn't have done that? I mean, are you fucking kidding me with this garbage? You couldn't have put Cena in some other type of Raw versus SmackDown match? Some shit like that, bro? You have to go for the bullshit. My God, this is clearly to sell Survivor Series. And I just want to see this Tuesday on SmackDown if Cena's even there. If Cena's even there, what bullshit explanation they have to explain this. Cena's a free fucking agent. If he was still on SmackDown Live, if you kept him on SmackDown Live, it would make sense. Here, it does not make sense. And, matter of fact, it makes Jason Jordan stick out even further as a sore goddamn thumb, bro. Look at the caliber of talent in this matchup. You got Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Shane McMahon, AJ Styles, or AJ's not in the matchup, excuse me, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, Finn Balor, You got this caliber of talent, bro, on your team, SmackDown. John Cena, SmackDown and Raw. You got this caliber of talent, and then you have Jason Jordan? What the fuck? Where does that even fit in? It makes no sense to me, and I'm sure it makes no goddamn sense to you. Instead of giving a Rusev an opportunity, instead of giving a Ty Dillinger an opportunity, instead of giving somebody else an opportunity on SmackDown Live, WWE went for the cheap way out. The way that's going to get more eyes on the Survivor Series, bro. A pay-per-view where you already have Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. My God, is WWE retarded. This makes no goddamn sense, and it takes away opportunity, and that needs to be said. It really, really does. For now, let's move on here to the next story, and that story is on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens being sent home from the European tour due to their actions on Smackdown Live. This makes no goddamn sense to me either, to be quite honest to you. Let's read this article and then I'll give you my opinion. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they're actually set to return this Tuesday on SmackDown Live. On Tuesday, the WWE sent home both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn from the WWE European Tour. The reason given at the time was that Vince McMahon was punishing Zayn and Owens for conduct deemed detrimental to the WWE. The word is that the two men went off script on SmackDown Live following their match with The New Day. While there were rumors that both wrestlers weren't happy with the WWE, PW Insider reported on Friday that both men are now scheduled to return to action this next Tuesday when SmackDown Live arrives in Charlotte, North Carolina. The original reasons for the WWE punishment. Dave Meltzer reported that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn went into business on their own when their match against The New Day ended. The original plan was that The New Day was supposed to beat down Zayn and Owens after the match, and that never happened. The New Day getting some revenge on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn after their WWE match was supposed to be a setup to a tag team match between the two teams on SmackDown Live when it arrived in Charlotte next week. However, instead of taking the beatdown, both Zayn and Owens slid out of the ring and escaped while New Day looked on, somewhat confused. According to the reports, Vince McMahon called the shots on sending both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn home after this event. The men left early from the tour and have yet to return to WWE. This punishment and the entire event that led to it comes at an interesting time. According to Pro Wrestling Sheet, a number of sources indicate that both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been difficult to work with recently, and that both men are very unhappy right now in the WWE. The reports indicate that they are unhappy about the WWE firing Jimmy Jacobs, as well as Neville walking out due to his own dissatisfaction with the WWE. Jacobs is a longtime friend of Owens and Zayn, and the WWE fired him after he took a photo with the Young Bucks in the parking lot of Monday Night Raw event and posted it on social media. Kevin Owens and Jimmy Jacobs were part of the same faction, Scum, in Ring of Honor before Owens signed with the WWE. Whether the dissatisfaction with backstage politics led to Owens and Zayn going off script or not is unknown. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are both returning to SmackDown Live next week. Vince McMahon has seemed to get behind both men, so it is assumed their roles are safe for now. McMahon actually took a bump for Owens, so that speaks volumes for his thoughts on the big man. Zayn said that McMahon was hands-on in creating his new heel persona. There is one thing that some fans have speculated. There is always a chance that the WWE sent Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn home as part of a storyline angle. The two have threatened to cause problems for SmackDown Live Survivor Series team, so this could all just be a WWE angle playing into real life problems. I think it's an angle. I think it is an angle, bro. I do not understand why WWE would send Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn home out of spite like that for something so small. I didn't even notice it on SmackDown Live, to be quite honest with you. I really didn't. I thought, alright, they slid, the heels escaped, and this is setting up something else maybe next week, and that's exactly what happens. It came off perfectly fine on television, whether or not there was supposed to be a beatdown or not, whether or not they went off script or not. It really wasn't something that major. And the other thing I don't understand is why Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would be unhappy with their particular booking. I understand where they would be unhappy with Neville being treated unfairly, with Jimmy Jacobs being fired for an absolute bogus reason. I understand where they would come from and being frustrated about that. But at the same time, realistically, there's really no other reason booking-wise. Sami Zayn, if anything, has the most pent-up frustration booking-wise because he's been booked like garbage. He really, really has been booked like garbage up to this point in his WWE career. Amazing matches all of 2016 with Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles on Raw, Fatal 4-Ways. Sami Zayn had like 5 Match of the Year candidate matches last year. I made my list, my top 10, and Sami Zayn was like in 4 out of the 10 matches. Crazy how good this guy did as far as in-ring went. It really, really is crazy. And he was booked like shit. He was treated like nothing on Monday Night Raw and on Smackdown Live. Now is the only time that WWE is starting to redeem for that. So if anything, Sami Zayn has a reason to be frustrated. But Kevin Owens has been booked pretty goddamn solidly. Besides, the only thing I can think of that Kevin Owens would be furious at is his bullshit Universal title run, where he was in a comedy angle with Chris Jericho. Besides that, he's been booked pretty well in 2017, United States Championships. I'm sure he's pretty honored by the fact that he had a match with Goldberg. You know, being able to do that angle with Vince McMahon in a Hell in a Cell match with Shane McMahon. I'm sure Kevin Owens is pretty happy with all that. So as far as their booking goes, I wouldn't see why Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn currently at least, or Kevin Owens would be frustrated with WWE's booking of them. So clearly that's not the problem. It's clearly, if this is not a shoot, if it's not a work, if it is a shoot, the only things I can think of is past booking of their characters and Neville and Jimmy Jacobs, like the article mentioned, being fucking fired from the WWE and Neville being booked to bullshit in order to frustrate him enough to leave the WWE. That's where I can see them being frustrated. That is the only place, but really, is that enough for them to go off script? Is that really the best they can do? If they were really frustrated, sliding out of the ring and not doing a little bit of a beatdown is so fucking difficult for them to do. That's the best they can do. If they were really mad, they'd do something more detrimental. They really, really would. I think this is a work. I really do think this is a work. I think WWE is playing this up as a storyline angle to get people talking, and here I am talking about it. So, I mean, this is a work. This is clearly a work if you ask me. There's no reason Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn have to be frustrated with the WWE. There are a lot of other people in a lot worse positions than Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the WWE right now who do have reason to be frustrated with the WWE. And maybe they're frustrated because those people are in those shitty positions and they're not being booked better. Guys like Ty Dillinger being booked awfully. Bobby Roode with this shitty ass babyface turn. Shinsuke Nakamura losing to Jinder Mahal. Maybe they're frustrated about that and the overall booking of WWE television. I don't know. But I just can't see it. I think this is a work. And I mean, it would fit in perfectly with the fact that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are these wily heels. So, I don't know. I think this is a work. Tell me, do you think this is work or shoot? Because really, there's no reason for Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens to be frustrated. I think this is just being portrayed as a work shoot. And, I mean, we'll see on Smackdown Live. Because they will be back on Smackdown Live. And I mean, there's really no reason for them to be frustrated. That's just what I think. But tell me what you think in the comment section down below. For now, we move on here. And we move on to this news story on Jinder Mahal. And the reason why Vince McMahon ended his WWE title reign. And I'm sitting here with a smile on my face as I am able to say that Jinder Mahal has lost the WWE Championship. Because quite honestly, This guy was awful, bro. Over the summer, Jinder Mahal shocked the wrestling world and became the WWE champion. For the last 5 months, the modern-day Maharaja, more like the modern-day failure Raha, has feuded with Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, and others to establish himself as a legitimate main event superstar on WWE television. However, his title reign came to a surprising end earlier this week when he lost the WWE Championship to AJ Styles on Smackdown Live. Before WWE officials changed their minds, Jinder Mahal was preparing for a big match with Brock Lesnar at the Survivor Series. Since the title change, there have been various rumors, or reports I should say, claiming many different reasons why WWE officials decided to take the WWE title off Mahal's shoulder. It's been reported that low ratings for SmackDown Live caused the change, along with fans preferring the Lesnar versus Styles matchup more than Brock versus Jinder. Despite all the possible explanations, here's why Vince McMahon ended Mahal's WWE title reign. WWE officials were serious about expanding into the Indian market and were willing to push through a few short-term issues to make that happen. Most people were surprised by the recent title change because they assumed that Mahal would hold the WWE title through the upcoming WWE India tour in December. It is being reported that Vince McMahon pulled the plug because Mahal has not helped their business in India. Apparently, Jinder Mahal's WWE title reign hasn't been a financial success, according to recent reports, so the low ratings and issues heading into the WWE Survivor Series might have been too much for Vince McMahon and WWE officials to ignore any longer. There is a lot of speculation that Mahal will win the championship back, specifically for WWE's tour of India, but it seems he won't be holding the title into WrestleMania 34, and he shouldn't be holding the title into WrestleMania 34. At this point, it's unclear what the future will hold for Jinder Mahal on WWE programming. After the India tour, the expectation is his push won't be as strong, and he may be pushed into the mid-card and the United States title picture. On paper, that could be a great spot for him. No one is calling Jinder's run as WWE Champion a failure. I'm calling Jinder's run as WWE Champion a failure because that's exactly what it was, a failure. But Mahal had a specific goal to achieve, and it seems that part of the plan didn't work. So, there you go. Jinder Mahal, and a lot of people talk about this, and I completely agree. Jinder Mahal was miscast completely. If it were up to me, I would have made this guy the United States champion, and it makes a lot more sense. This guy has an anti-America gimmick. The United States Championship being held by an anti-America gimmick that is instant heel heat. Jinder Mahal had go-away heat. People wanted him to go away. They still want him to go away. I still want him to go away. He is awful. At least as the United States champion holding a mid-card title, he wouldn't have been the focus of WWE television. It probably still would have been just as bad, but he wouldn't have been that primary focus of WWE television, because when you're holding that WWE title, that's what you are, the focus on WWE television. That's exactly what you are, bro. You are the main part of the show. Jinder Mahal was holding that WWE Championship, and he was the main part of the show, and due to the fact that he was the main part of the show, it was making the show that was SmackDown Live worse and worse and worse and worse. Each and every single week, this guy was WWE Champion. From Backlash, to where I believe he won it, to the SmackDown Live we just seen, this show has gotten continually worse. And I don't think there's any denying what I just told you. This show has gotten worse and worse. No doubt about it. And Jinder Mahal is exactly the reason for that being the case. The guy is awful. The guy is awful. I don't care what you tell me. Jinder Mahal is fucking garbage. He can't cut a promo for his life. He cannot go in that ring. Shinsuke Nakamura could not bring this guy to a good match. Randy Orton could not bring this guy to a good match. AJ Styles barely brought him to a matchup. Barely brought him to a matchup that was acceptable. That was mediocre. That was the bare minimum for a WWE matchup on WWE television. AJ Styles. A man who has brought Roman Reigns, Shane McMahon, and so many others who really can't wrestle to very good matchups. It's crazy how bad this guy is in the ring. He is not exciting. He's not a WWE champion. He looks like a goddamn freak, and I'm sure that has to do with a lot of the reason that Vince McMahon said, you know what, let's go with this guy. He saw this guy looking like a freak. He goes from 1 week looking like my goddamn grandma to looking like the bodybuilder that you'll see working his ass off each and every single hour of each and every single day in that gym, and he still didn't look as good as Jinder Mahal. And I still believe, despite what Jinder Mahal said on the Instagram post that he posted the other day, which we will look at in just a few, right after we finish discussing this story, as a matter of fact, despite what Jinder Mahal says, I believe he's on enhancements. And I believe that WWE was willing to say, you know what, you're cheating, but we don't care. You look that good, and you can help us go into India, so let's do it. Meanwhile, you have all these Indian fans sitting there saying, this guy's a bum. And that's exactly what he is. He's a goddamn bum. He's not a WWE champion. When you look at the champion of your brand, you think of who is the best on that brand. When you look at New Japan Pro Wrestling, who is the best on New Japan Pro Wrestling? Okada. What is Okada? He is your champion. You look at Kenny Omega. Is Kenny Omega holding a championship? I think so. I think so, bro. You look at Ring of Honor. You look at Ring of Honor. Who can you say is the best in Ring of Honor? You can definitely make an argument that Cody Rhodes is the best of Ring of Honor. What is Cody Rhodes holding? That Ring of Honor World Championship. Then you look at WWE for all these couple months. You look at WWE. Who is the best on WWE? AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, all these great talents. Yet who is your WWE champion? Jinder Mahal? What? How does that add up? It doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me, and I'm damn sure it does not make sense to you either. He's awful. The guy is awful. He's not a WWE champion, and that story was told by the very fact that this guy went from losing to everybody on your roster. He lost to Sami Zayns. He lost to Finn Balor's. He lost to everybody on your goddamn roster, bro. He was on a losing streak that nobody had ever even fucking compared to was Jinder Mahal. Only guy who probably beat Jinder Mahal on this losing streak was Kurt Hawkins. That's probably the only fucking guy, bro. That's the type of losing streak Jinder Mahal was on. When he won that six-pack challenge to contend for the WWE Championship, he hadn't won a Smackdown matchup in 5 fucking years, bro. 5 fucking years. I kid you not. You look at the faction of 3MB, Heath Slater, Drew McIntyre, and Jinder Mahal, and who do you look at from that stable? If you had to pick one guy to be the WWE Champion, it damn sure wouldn't be Jinder Mahal. I think you can all agree with me on that. Yet this man held the WWE Championship for 6 months. I mean, it makes no sense. The guy was jobbing out each and every single thing he did. He looked awful, and he went to looking like that, and beating Randy Orton's and Shinsuke Nakamura's clean? What? That makes no sense. His title reign was awful, and if you do not see that, you are really one blind fucking goat, bro. Holy shit. And we move on to this next news story, and it has to do with what Jinder Mahal said on the Instagram. Look at this. He says, to at AJ Styles, so his Twitter, right? You were the better man for one night. 6 months I held the WWE Championship, defended it countless times all over the world. I will one day raise the title again, To my haters and wrestling insiders, this was not an experiment. I am not injured. I have not violated the wellness policy. So keep throwing shade my way. It only motivates me. You gotta be fucking kidding me with this garbage, bro. If you ask me, he is an experiment, and he has violated the wellness policy. As far as him being injured, I don't know about that. But everything that these quote-unquote wrestling insiders have said about Jinder Mahal, about him being awful at least, is fucking true, bro. It's fucking true, and you cannot deny that fact. Look at this guy, bro. Look at this guy. Does he look the part? Sure. Sure. Did he cheat to look the part? I think so. I think so. But you look at this guy and what he's done on paper, you look at what this guy's done, he hasn't done shit. He has not done shit. And AJ Styles, I'm so glad AJ Styles has taken the WWE Championship. Do I think WWE will put the title back on this guy? Unfortunately, probably. Probably, because I'm sure WWE's end goal is to have John Cena win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. And, I mean, you've done John Cena versus AJ Styles. And Mr. Jinder Mahal is this foreign enemy, right? And John Cena would be cheered. He'd be praised for taking this title off Jinder Mahal. So, unfortunately, on that tour to India, maybe even at the next Smackdown pay-per-view Clash of the Champions, I believe, I think Jinder Mahal might be taking that WWE title off the hands of AJ Styles. And that sounds absolutely atrocious. Jinder Mahal is fucking awful. He really, really is. In the ring, hasn't cut a good promo since he won that six-pack challenge. And I mean, what can you say? This guy is fucking garbage. And WWE is going to continue to shove this guy down our throats, probably. And I mean, I just don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say about the stupidity. If you ask me what I was saying about him being miscast before, he should have been United States Champion. And Rusev should have been put in his place. Rusev was very, very unfortunately injured at the time that WWE wanted to do this foreign enemy thing, and they were originally considering Rusev for that part, but he was clearly injured, and that bit Rusev in the ass in a major way, because Rusev, if he would have been healthy, they wouldn't have seen Jinder Mahal, and Rusev would be in the position of Jinder Mahal, and Rusev is actually fucking entertaining. He can go in that ring, and these couple months in WWE probably would have been a lot better, if you ask me. I don't understand WWE and this Jinder Mahal experiment. It makes no goddamn sense to me, and I'm sure it makes no goddamn sense to you. This guy is awful. And hopefully AJ Styles keeps that title, and we can go on to WrestleMania 34 and see what we want, and that is AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Or maybe you'll put that title on Kevin Owens and give us Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Do something that is not Jinder Mahal, the modern day failure Raha. For now, we move on here to the next news story. We move on here to the story on Daniel Bryan, and he had an interview saying that WWE wanted him to get back in the ring. Daniel Bryan has never hidden his desire to step back into a wrestling ring and perform once again for the crowds. Not as a general manager, but as a professional wrestler. However, there's almost no chance of that ever happening inside the confines of a WWE ring thanks to Bryan's past concussion issues. However, in a recent interview with the Trentonian, I've never heard of that, Daniel said that the WWE actually would love to see him wrestle for the company again. But the WWE can't let Daniel Bryan wrestle. The problem, according to Daniel Bryan, is that as much as the WWE wants him to wrestle again, they can't allow him to do so. Bryan said that there is more to the situation than just doctors saying that he can't wrestle again, thanks to the current political climate. When Bryan talks about the political climate, he's talking about the issue of concussions in the world of sports. Professional sports organizations like the NFL and NBA have set up strict protocols and won't allow a player back on the field or court until they pass these protocols. It is worse in the WWE, where the company recently found themselves in a giant lawsuit with many former professional wrestlers who claimed the WWE sent them out to compete despite showing concussion symptoms. As a result, the WWE has no choice but to deny Daniel Bryan and his desire to wrestle for the company again. As Bryan said in the interview, the WWE has stockholders to answer to, and because they are a giant corporation and large business in the United States, they can't risk putting him back in the ring. Daniel Bryan, though, still has plans to wrestle again. However, while the WWE refuses to allow Daniel Bryan to step back into the ring as a wrestler, again, that doesn't mean he is finished with his career as an active wrestler. Before talking about the fact that WWE wants him to wrestle but can't allow it, Daniel said he is still working to get clearance to wrestle again from doctors. Daniel Bryan said all his medical tests have come back fantastic, and every doctor he has spoken to said he is healthy enough to continue his career. However, since the WWE won't allow it, Bryan will look to have to wrestle elsewhere. Fansided spoke to Ring of Honor COO Joe Koff, who said that Daniel Bryan, who wrestled there as Bryan Danielson, was welcome to return to ROH in the future. Bryan then took to Twitter to say that it was an interesting read. Daniel Bryan finishes up his WWE contract in 2018. There's no doubt in my mind that come 2018, Daniel Bryan will be back in that ring fighting for whether it be the Ring of Honor World Championship or the IWGP World Heavyweight Belt. He will be in New Japan. He will be in Ring of Honor. As soon as his contract expires, you know Daniel Bryan wants to fucking wrestle. That's all this guy has ever wanted to do. Wrestle, bro. And he's not able to do that right now in the WWE, whether it's a legitimate reason or not, which I've always had my suspicions deep down that WWE is not letting Daniel Bryan wrestle because he would get in the way of the Roman Reigns being pushed, because Daniel Bryan was so over, and he's really a lot of what sabotaged WWE and their plans for WrestleMania 30. Originally, the plans were for Batista versus Randy Orton. They were forced to put Daniel Bryan in there. Imagine the main event of WrestleMania like we're going into right now, where it was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Imagine Daniel Bryan was still competing at this point. Do you really think that the WWE would want Daniel Bryan sabotaging this Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns initiative? Yeah, they can come out and say that they want Daniel Bryan to compete. Yeah, they can tell Daniel Bryan to say all this shit. But at the end of the day, Daniel Bryan knows he's healthy. He knows he wants to get back in there. And if WWE isn't going to let him wrestle, that damn sure ain't going to stop him. And you know it. He's come out and said it on Talking Smack, I should say. Goddamn. When he was in that promo with The Miz, he said, and I'm sure this was probably off script, he said, I want to wrestle again, but they won't let me. And all the doctors that have come out and cleared this guy, I mean, it all sounds like a goddamn storyline to me that the only doctor that won't clear him is the WWE doctor. Then again, I can see WWE wanting to be careful because you got these old WWE legends. I know Demolition is one of the names that wants to take WWE down for this concussion-related lawsuit, because, I mean, WWE, they clearly did not have these laws in place, or these rules in place, the wellness policy in place back then. So now WWE is finding themselves in hot water because back then they did not have that wellness policy in place, and now these legends are trying to sue the WWE for a lot of money. And until that lawsuit has been settled, I don't think WWE is going to want to let a guy like Daniel Bryan back in the ring who has a concussion history. And I can see where they're coming from in that regard, that can give the old legends a very strong argument as far as them letting Daniel Bryan back in the ring goes. But you know that is not going to stop Daniel Bryan. And as soon as his contract expires in 2018, he gone, bro. He is gone, and I don't know how that's going to work out for him. Maybe he won't be gone. Because, again, you got Brie Bella in the WWE. You know Brie Bella ain't stepping outside of the WWE. And she might talk Daniel Bryan not to want to wrestle again. But you can tell Daniel Bryan never lost that itch. He never lost that want to wrestle again. That was never lost in Daniel Bryan. And we all know that. He's always had that look in his eye. I'm sure he was smiling after he took that choke slam from Kane on Monday Night Raw, because you know he wants to step back in that ring. And if WWE is not going to allow him, he's going to go to a Ring of Honor. In 2018, WWE is going to lose, and they're going to make a big mistake by not letting Daniel Bryan back in that ring, because he's going to go to a Ring of Honor. He's going to be fighting Cody Rhodes. He's going to be fighting a Jay Lethal. He's going to be fighting in a tag team match against the Young Bucks. He's going to go to New Japan. He's going to be fighting a Kenny Omega, an Okada, a Naito. He is. And WWE, just like they did with Cody Rhodes, like probably doing with Cody Rhodes right now, just like they're doing with CM Punk, who's gone from wrestling completely, they're saying, damn, I really wish I could have a Cody Rhodes back right now. Damn, I really wish I can have an Emma back right now. Damn, I really wish I can have a Neville back right now. That's probably what WWE is thinking. And in 2018, when that time comes, when Daniel Bryan's contract expires, in a couple months, WWE is going to be saying, damn, I really wish I can have a Daniel Bryan back right now. And you know what? Everybody else is going to be saying, we won. Ring of Honor is going to be saying, we won. And that's probably going to boost him to another level, because Daniel Bryan's that type of star. He's that popular. But for now, we move on to the final segments of Behind the Mic. And this is your final segments of Behind the Mic. This has been Behind the Mic episode number 44. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed each and every single thing that you have heard on this episode of Behind the Mic. I've had a lot of fun here today talking all these news stories, and I hope you guys have had a lot of fun listening to all my opinions and listening to all the news. So make sure, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed what you heard here, to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Huge week of content coming next week. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, preview and predictions for Survivor Series coming next week, NXT TakeOver preview and predictions, NXT TakeOver review. You got Survivor Series review. And, of course, you got your Behind the Mic episode number 45 all coming next week. If you enjoyed what you heard here on Behind the Mic episode number 44, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to comment what you thought of all of these news stories down below. Tell me what your opinions were, because your opinions matter just as much as everybody else's do. And, of course, make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Links to the last 10 videos are in the description below. Twitter of the same name, where we live tweet with Monday Night Raw, SmackDown's pay-per-view, NXT TakeOver, all that good stuff. So make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and of course go check out all the other content, because for now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and for now, I am out of here. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you all next time right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel.